Okay, first of all, we would like to ask everyone to be moisef in all good things. We're holding that by Shabbos, Mevorchim, Adar Beis. We're blessing the second month of Adar. And with everything going on in the world, we definitely have to increase in good things. We increase in Simcha. They should bring the ultimate Simcha to the whole world. We're standing at a very important time of the year in general, holding before Chav Zayin Adar, Chav Zayin Adar Aleph, 30 years to Chav Zayin Adar, which is not a small thing. The world B'chlal is not going through the greatest of times. And the Shabbos Parshas Vaykhel, what was the Shabbos, we heard the last, we were Zirkind here, the last Rabbi from the Rabbi was Shabbos Parshas Vaykhel Tavshin and Beis, the same Kviyas. And there are a number of points. First point is living with the times, with the Torah times. In the Rebbe spoke about the idea of Achdus. The Rebbe spoke about that there's Vaykhel and Pekudei. Vaykhel speaks about the idea of a klal, of gathering everyone together. Pekudei means you're dealing with each individual person. So the Rebbe spoke that in Avodas Hashem there's two general things. There's dealing with the, things that are common denominators between everyone, the basic building blocks of how we serve the Eibishter, how we exist as Yidden. And then there is Pekudei, then there's individual, each person is his individual thing. And usually they go together, Yaakov, Pekudei go together, but sometimes Vaykhel is separate. The hero is that sometimes before you deal with individual issues, you have to deal with the overall thing to be ba'achdus. There's differences before everyone has to be different and everyone has to use out their differences. But we have to be in a matzav of achdus. If I remember, I wasn't there by the Fabrein, if I heard correctly, the Rebbe said then, the Rebbe brought down the Yerushalmi that the Jewish people are like one body. It's just like one body. If one hand would, by mistake, hurt the other hand, so the other hand wouldn't hit it back because it's not hurting another person, it's hurting himself. My brother told me he saw when the Rebbe was saying it, usually couldn't see movement by the Rebbe's hands, but he saw from under the table, he was a kid, he was sitting there, he saw the Rebbe making with his hands as he was talking. So obviously, first of all, the idea of achdus in the world, as the Rebbe said many times, the Welt shakelt sich, the world is shaking, and today it's, getting worse. So a Jew has to stabilize the world. What could he do? We don't have missiles, we don't have atomic bombs, physical atomic bombs, that is at least. But every ma'aseh tov, every good deed has an effect, and so by focusing on the news and what this country did and what that country did, and so it's not going to necessarily help the situation. It might keep you updated, but it won't help the situation. But we definitely believe that every good action definitely helps to stabilize the world at such a time. It's first of all. Second of all, the Rebbe spoke many times. The Rebbe that when you look at the world, right, what's the biggest fear in the world in general? So you have nuclear bombs, or worse than that, right? And so the chayra, what significance? Person could say, what significance is it to my small effort? Look, there's such terrible options out there for people that are really, whatever you want to call that that they're careless or whatever it is, they have agendas. So, they have terrible weapons out there. So the Rabbi said there's a very important lesson to learn from that. What is an atomic bomb? Atomic bomb means you take the tiniest particle, and that has the greatest energy. Right, so it teaches you the importance of small actions. You think, what's the significance? It was nice today, I did a mitzvah. The Rebbe says, no, if you look at the whole fear of the world for the past 70 years, plus, or 80 years, whatever it is, right, is what does it bring out? It brings out the nekuda, how the kamus achitana, the tiniest things have the greatest ability. So a person says, what's the difference if I do a small thing? The world is anyway crazy. If I do a small thing, what difference does it make? That's one thing you could learn from Abu Khalif. And the Nekud is like this. There's a pasuk that says that the Jewish people's strength, I mean, not that this is a war that's directly related against the Jewish people, but in general, our way we're dealing with things in the world is might or strength, is Hayadayim Midei Esav. Esav uses might and strength. But Hakel Kol Yaakov, the Yidden, their power is their spiritual strength. Frierdiker Rebbe invoked this pasuk right after the creation of the state of Israel, so-called independence state, whatever it is, when the so-called war of independence started. The Frierdiker Rebbe quoted this pasuk. People asked them they should join the army, they shouldn't, whatever, they shouldn't want Bavitchers. So the Frierdiker Rebbe said that they should join, whatever, they should help out. But the Frierdiker Rebbe highlighted that it's important for the Jewish people to realize that our strength lies in our spiritual strength, not in our physical strength. So, what does it mean today? Today, what it basically means is that we have to be moisef in Yonim Tovim. And obviously, the Eibishter, people that do things obviously are held responsible for their actions. Less man the public. No one disagrees. If you had whatever, whether he's a guy or a yid that does something, obviously he's held responsible. At the end of the day, is you have to realize that the Eibishter feared the world. The Eibishter is running the world. There's obviously until Mashiach comes, the world is not going to be quiet. The world is not going to be settled. The Eibishter runs the world. It's obviously a call to each one of us. The Eibishter is the Baal Bayis of every single, the whole world at large, and every single person. And when such a thing happens, so obviously we have to be moisef what we could do physically to help out, whether it's through davening, whether it's through giving money, whatever it might be. But the Nekuda is that it's obviously a wake-up call that just shows us the world the way it is not, we can't just say, like yesterday, like today, it's all the same. You have to be moist of something. You have to change. You can't just let status quo be status quo, right? That's what Russia said. They can't. Status quo is unacceptable. So this is a threat to our country, whether they're right or wrong, crazy. But the Nekuda is of what we can't just accept status quo. You have to do something. You can't. Whenever there's the world is in an upheaval. The Frierdiker Rebbe used the pasuk. It's supposed to this. Whatever the lashon is, how like volcanoes that erupt, like the world is in a turmoil. What are you going to do about it? So obviously, the nekuda is that by Yidden we believe that it's ma'asim tovim, it's the actions, it's elav arechav, elav asus, and nachnu shemai. What did David say to Goliath? Goliath was a huge giant. Here, a little pipsqueak comes to him, and he has 5 stones. Goliath has a sword. This guy has 5 small pebbles he picked up as a small shepherd. Yeah. So he jokes at David. He says, "They're coming to me, I'll blow him apart before he appears." So David says, "You're coming to me face with your strength. I'm coming to you with the Eibishter." And his 5 small pebbles, the klinkite, that was right. So that was there's a famous prophecy, the famous the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. The whole story of the Nile, in the beginning of the Nile, there's the whole mice, and Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. And he didn't know he forgot he was bothered by the dream, and didn't even remember what the dream was. And basically, the dream was, and the Nile was real from the dream, he saw a statue. He saw the head was gold, and the chest was silver. And basically, he saw a whole statue which referred to different kingdoms. At the end of the dream, he saw a small stone which was not chiseled by human hands came and it knocked down the whole statue. It wasn't garnished from them. So the Nile told him that Nebuchadnezzar had a desire to know if his kingdom will last. They showed him in a dream the whole order of kingdom until Mashiach comes. He explained there's the four Malchias, Vaykhel was the first, and then there was Yavan, and there was Parshas and Madai, there was Persia and Madai, then there was Greek and Rome. And Machos Yishmol, whatever it is, not going through the whole dream. But the end was that there was a stone which wasn't chiseled by human hands. Means it didn't come through human power, through human effort. And that small stone threw down the whole statue. It made nothing out of the whole thing. So Chassidus explains that the Gilui of Mashiach is something which comes. It's not a human ability. It says that Chassidus connects it also, or others connect with the stones that David HaMelech used. He didn't come. The small stone, the Derech HaTava, didn't have much of a chance to overthrow a giant. But nevertheless, it was a stone that came from the Eibishter. So the point is that by Yidden, we always increase in our spiritual strength. Human, physical strength, we don't... Anyway, what do we have? I don't know how many bombs we have in our arsenal or not, but that's is the Nekud. And obviously to be moisef in Simcha and all good things. Vaydvu Iker, that what? The Gemara says, the Medrash says, that Risa Machis, Uskar, Zu, Bezu, it's Hapi L'Ragel of Shom Mashiach. Because if you see kingdoms, the world is fragile, is delicate, so this is an opportune time for Mashiach to come. And everything is status quo, so there's many different implications or meanings to the thing, but on a simple level, as long as the world is status quo, so fine, but The world is already changing. The change in the world means that the world is fragile. The world is vulnerable. There's a time that good change could happen. Mashiach could come. So when you see negative things happen, try to bring Mashiach. Don't just say what needs to happen. Fidik Rabbi, during the whole Holocaust, he gave out a newsletter in America called Akriya V'Kedusha. A very interesting newsletter. I mean, it was whatever. I don't want to go through all this. The news was printed. Fidik Rabbi stopped it right after the Holocaust. And many things about the newsletter. But one of the main nekudas Fidik Rabbi was trying to tell American Jewry is that your hope should not be, right? Everyone was pilpling like a newspaper. They want this country to and that country to, and what will happen after the war? Will we have our own state? Won't we have our own state? Should we become Zionists? Should we become a Chaysin? And Fidik Rabbi was saying that when you see such a thing happening, you have to realize that Eibish's eventual goal is to bring Mashiach. There won't be any true peace in the world until Mashiach will come. So Mamela, when we see something, so you could sit and pilpul what this person should do, what that person should do. That's good for the Welt. But what do we need? What do we need to do? The Chacham tell us a Jew's vision for the world, the Jew's outlook when he sees strife in the world should be that he has to bring Mashiach. Not that he should wait for this guy to an adaga. Anyway, and the ikar is that we should all things should be over kedifying. We shouldn't have to gribble every day. Something else is happening. And we should have the coming with Mashiach now, and it should be achtay v'chesed for every yid b'chol makom shehu. And should have the simchas elam al rosh the coming with Mashiach now.